Well, hello there. Welcome to today's episode of The Big Question. I'm your host, Simon Irungu. And on this episode, I'm always having Professor Herman Manyora, the man himself. You all know him. He's the founder and the president of Nairobi Review. Prof, welcome on set. How are you doing,
Thank you, Simon. I'm doing well.
You and Jari are just having a conversation on billionaires. Are you a billionaire yourself?
Yes.
But you say you're a poor man.
A billionaire in the heart. In the pocket, I have nothing.
Just you having a conversation for billionaires. Now, the hustlers were promised a loan with zero interest rate. But according to what the president said the previous, like 2 days ago, that the loan is not that free. It has an interest rate, Prof. Now, did the president lie to the people?
If I don't know, in English, you know, there's politics and there's English. In English, if you said it will be interest-free, and then say there's interest, hakuna chabure, then it's called lying. In English, he had lied to the people. Yeah.
Now,
but there are ways of explaining it, maybe.
How would you explain it?
But it's plain English, he lied to the people.
Now, if you are the president, now, how would you explain the president?
If I were the president, it depends on, did he mean, when he was saying it, did he mean it, or he was looking for votes?
During his manifesto launch, he actually said that the loan is going to consist of 0% interest rate.
Yes.
Now, from what he said yesterday, the previous day, he said that it's going to have a single digit, and people are estimating it to be a 10% interest.
So what's the difference between that and a bank?
Now, how would you defend the president? Or
I wouldn't defend him. I wouldn't defend him. I will tell him, we understand you are looking for votes. And we will also hope that you know what you are saying was not true. But you needed the votes. Now, that being the case, can you now try to marry what you said and what is possible and find a middle ground, which is still possible, if you work with intelligent people?
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we likely to see something escalating from this? People being promised something with zero interest rate, then afterwards they're being told that there's going to be an interest rate. Is there something going to escalate?
I even had a big debate with Bitok on Spice FM over the same, and I've argued many times here. What the difference between this hustler fund and the monies that people have been given in this country and the loans that are available? And nobody was able to argue, to provide answer. They were simply saying, this money shall be given to hustlers, hustler fund. And I said it can't work. And it had many issues around it. So I don't know whether they didn't know, and now they have known, or they knew, but they needed votes. That's where I don't understand.
Is it that the loan was not, the 50 billion annually was not practical without an interest?
It is possible, if it's well thought out. But if you are looking for votes, you didn't have time to look at it in the manner I was suggesting. I was saying, this is not the first money to go down. Monies have been going down there from the 1960s. And nothing can be seen on the ground. How come with all that money that was put on the ground, there is no evidence? What is the difference between now this one and that one? They didn't answer that question. So now you can see they're having the challenges.
Okay.
And the issue of, it's not even a question of whether the money has interest or not. That's not even a very important thing. The most important thing is the conception of the whole idea. David Indi says there are 10 million hustlers down there. You want to create a hustler fund for the 10 million. Manyora tells David Indi and William Ruto, look here. Who tells you everybody wants to be a businessman? A majority of people just want to earn, to be employed and work. They don't want to do business. And of those who do business, who tells you they will succeed? But more fundamental, who is it you are giving money down there? Is it the real hustler or the middle class person who has opened that kiosk? All those things you see down, those border borders don't belong to hustlers. They belong to the middle class. All those M-Pesa shops, they don't belong to those girls there. They are operated, run by businesses run by middle class. So when you give that middle class the loans, what happens to the banks which will have lost their customers? You know, this cheap economics.
Okay, now, Prof, let me ask you this. This 0 0% interest loan. Is
Yes.
it one among many manifestos that are going to be going, taking a different trajectory from
Of course.
how they were?
But
being
don't
approached?
blame RUTO. It is normal for politicians to promise the sun, sometimes even fail to deliver the moon. It's normal. It's normal. There's nothing strange. It's normal.
Okay.
So that's why people like Raila have a problem.
Okay.
They talk about things they believe in. They talk about workable programs. But people don't want things. People want to be lied to. Kuchezewa karata na shere na kudanganywa. Papa kupakwa mafuta kwa mapua kila mahali. Yeah.
Okay. Now the loan is going to be dispersed as from December,
Yes.
Prof, and it is in conjunction with Safaricom. Now, William Ruto working together with Safaricom, we know how Safaricom, people have complained of Safaricom overpricing their interest rates, Prof. Now, yes. Safaricom, is it the best way to approach this loan to the common mwananchi?
Everybody has talked about Safaricom exploiting people. So this is just another one opportunity for them to exploit.
Okay.
Ruto himself talked about Fuliza. So Fuliza is from Safaricom, I think.
Okay.
Or is it Airtel? Fuliza is from Safaricom. Mshwari is from
Safaricom.
So then you add them another one and you have this. So these guys, I'm finding difficult to believe this Ruto government.
Okay.
Very difficult. I support them 100%. I love them. I'm loyal to the country and the government. But I'm finding a lot of inconsistencies. You told us Fuliza was exploitation. Now you are celebrating it. Mshwari, now you are celebrating. And now you are adding them another one. How?
Now, from your
Because Safaricom is a corporate entity. A corporate entity like Safaricom or a bank cannot manage a fund of that nature that it looks like philanthropic.
Okay.
Because if Ruto was genuine, he would know there is already a law in place, I think, where microfinancing was going to be done. Money provided by certain banks, guaranteed by government. That was already in place. But once you came up with a special fund to be run in a manner that is different from the Mshwaris, the Fulizas, the banks, you can't again take the same fund and hand over to the banks. You can't take the same fund and hand over to the Fuliza people. Because the conditionalities is what you are dealing with. That when a normal person gets a loan, the process of acquiring a loan locks out so many Kenyans. So this one was more relaxed outside the banking structure.
But you have to be in a circle, you have to be...
You see, now you are reintroducing the same condition that makes it difficult for Njiko, for Shiko from Rwaka to get a loan. Look here, and I can get annoyed.
Okay.
But let me not get annoyed. Government has many funds that have not been exhausted. Absorption of even Uwezo fund. There are funds government has availed for young people. The absorption is so poor, the money is just lying there. Even with very low interest rates. Why? You get a villager from Lombe, where I come from, and you give them a string of conditions to access the money. They won't. That's why the money is not accessed. Finally, those who are accessed are crooks from Nairobi, brokers, conmen, people who know. But the really person for whom that fund was intended cannot reach it. Why? The process alone is too formal, is too tedious, is too rigid, too stringent. So we were saying the Hustler Fund would be coming in a different form, with less formalities, easier to access. Now, when you take the same money and give it to the same people of Fuliza, then I'm finding a problem in this government.
Now, what I'm interpreting for...
Why can't they give me a job? And I'm available to do work for them, honestly. Because this is lack of thinking. I can give that money to the people on the ground in a revolving fund with almost zero interest. Just some little some little interest to make sure to handle sustainability.
Prof, let me
and some
pause-
losses you will
let me pause
incur.
you at that.
Yes.
There are people who actually need this fund.
Yes.
There are people who are going to get this fund and
Yes.
they don't need this fund.
Yes.
Now,
The people who will get don't need it.
how do you determine the people who actually need this fund?
That's part of the thinking. I'm saying that the moment you hand it over to Safaricom, you immediately lock out those people who qualify for the money. Who then gets it? Those who least deserve it. Because they have those things. They speak good English. They have lawyer friends. They know how to apply for a loan. My village in Luombe, an old woman called Kamata, she can't apply for a loan. She can't go through this process. So the Wezo Fund was to group these people together. Go look for them. Employ what we call youth development officers or community development officers who train the groups how to form groups, how to have them registered, how to keep books, how to do banking, how to repay loans, and they supervise them. Then you give them the money. It is government to go to the people with the money and train the people and give them continuous support with bookkeeping, with everything, with the business, with the marketing, whatever they are doing. The entire mix. The government is with them all the way until they finish paying the loan. But if you take the loan and give it to a Fuliza agent, so what have you done? You have done nothing. This government has a problem.
This hustler fund narrative, Prof.
The hustler fund,
was it something to get into power then?
Pardon?
Was it something just?
Of course, they want the power and they have it. They want the power. The challenges they're having shows either they didn't understand the situation or they knew but they wanted votes. So now they must craft something. And none of the things so far is working. I sympathize with them.
So now as we wrap up the conversation, Prof, the loans are going to be dispersed as from December.
Yes.
Does the president have to go back to what he said? You know, keep up with his words. You know, he said 0% interest rates. Now this is what is raising question.
This money will be
very
taken by
many
crooks. If they give it in December, by February, all of it will have gone with the crooks.
And you're saying at some point it won't even be paid back to the government.
And nobody will pay back. The crooks know how to take. The crooks know how not to pay. The villagers, if they are given and supported well in sustainable ways, they will use the money well, they will improve their lives, and they will repay.
They don't know how to take it,
but the crooks know how to take and how not to pay.
Let's wrap up the conversation about it. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of The Big Question. I've been your host, Simon Irungu. Till you have the next episode of The Big Question, enjoy the rest of your day.